is kind of fool's hero analyzation up, but prediction, speculation, whatever you want to call it. I'm gonna go through every character that we have learned about. So people like Martinez, I really won't go into, but people like Millen, I probably will. So just a little fact there. There will be spoilers, so if you're not caught up to episode 8 of season 3, the mid-season finale, then I recommend not watching this video until you have. Unless I won't drop major spoilers. Actually, I will drop major spoilers. So don't watch it until you've caught up to episode 8. So I'm gonna start off. I'm just gonna go in a weird order. I I don't think it matters really. But what I'm gonna do is kind of talk about what could happen, um, what state they're in, um, people that could affect them, and everything. Um, for example, how is Rick going to react with Daryl returning if he does? That type of stuff. So that's what to expect from this. But I'm gonna start off with Rick. As you know, well, Rick, excuse me, Rick Grimes. Um, he is still the leader of the group. He's still going through these hallucination stages. Phone, seeing Shane at the Woodbury assault. He he doesn't want to talk to anybody. He doesn't have any friends. You can say they've been on Talking Dead last night. They pretty much said that he has no friends, and they maybe when Tyrese comes around, that they could be friends. Him and Daryl are really never friends. They're just pretty much leader and lieutenant, pretty much. They don't have no enduring talks or anything. And Tyrese probably fits that role of being Rick's friend. Um, in the comic books, they fight a lot, but he's pretty much the only friend. His only friend was really Shane, but he had to kill Shane. So that's how Rick and Tyrese will work out. They I don't know if they're gonna go the comic book way with them, but they probably will. Um, I think Rick will still hallucinate throughout the next episode, 8 episodes. I don't know what he'll hallucinate, but I still think he's in that state where he is not. He's not the dictatorship type of guy. He's starting to lose it, and what leads me to believe he will lose his reviews. You see Carl question his Glenn and Michonne might. This leads into Merle because Daryl and Merle. Well, Daryl we know is alive. He's going to live. If you watched the preview, you saw him. You never saw Merle though. But if Merle does return, it's gonna cause the group to break apart pretty much. Not literally, but they're gonna come to a difference. Do they let Merle or do let Merle in or let him out? And I think that's the breaking point for Rick's leadership. I think um, he's gonna have a problem holding his leadership role after doing that, and I think it might go to a committee like in the comics. But I think Rick will regain the leadership role once Woodbury returns. Um, predictions pretty much went there. Rick loses leadership. I think him and Tyrese become friends. I think he'll eventually come back to the normal state. He start letting people in the group if they trust him. After the Shane incident, he he knows better now. He knows to be careful with the people and make sure they don't turn. Um, I think his decision making will come into question a little bit more in the next episode. Next 8 episodes. I don't know why I said next episode, but he's gonna become questionable. He's gonna likely the major thing from this next eight episodes is he loses leadership in my mind, because of the dishes and he'll be making. Um, Next we got Andrea. Um, After finding out about the heads from the governor, the his daughter being zombified and him keeping her there, and she's still blurring out why Michonne was back, but I'm pretty sure she'll find out sooner or later. Um, her finding out that they've captured Daryl and called Merle a traitor. She doesn't know why Merle was considered a traitor. She might find out sooner or later. Um, her and the governor, I think, we're gonna start pushing apart. The new, you could say, improved governor, the new dictator type governor wants Andre to be there, but I don't think Andre wants to be with him. I think that'll be the major thing for her. Is she probably wants to go back to the prison, knowing that Daryl's alive, everyone else is probably alive, and she eventually finds out about the prison. I'm pretty sure. Um, she, I don't think she'll become a spy for the governor after finding out what she's done with Daryl, and maybe she finds out about Michonne. But her relationship with that group is going to be very distraught at the point because she was with Woodbury at the time of the assault, um, and she could have killed one of them. So her coming into the group right away is going to be it's going to be a problem pretty much. She's going to have you know her relationship with Michonne is going to be troublesome. Um, Daryl seeing her there doesn't help. Merle, if he does end up getting to the group, doesn't help her. Um, so she's gonna have a tough road. I think that's her big. What I'm gonna do with each character is a big thing for the rest of the season. I think her big thing is trying to gain the prison's trust, um, and her trying to maybe help them at Woodbury. But she's really hard to speculate on because, like I said, she's in a relationship with the governor. Does she like the new governor? Does she want to go back to the prison? Thinking Shane is there. Um, that's another thing. When she finds out Shane is dead, she might lose it and go back to Woodbury. So there's several factors that can push her back to the prison or back to Woodbury. Um, next we have Daryl. A lot of people are gonna speculate that he's gonna die. I don't know. I don't see that happening. They're gonna show him and Merle in the wild, pretty much. They're gonna try to find the prison. There's somehow get out of the prison would have something to do with that. Seeing that she saw Daryl captured, she might have something to do with that. So she's the Andre is pretty much the connecting block between the two places. Who is she gonna help, and who is she gonna trust? Um, but there's nothing really to speculate on Daryl. I know he lives from watching the previews. He's not gonna die. They're not gonna kill him like that. I would like to know how he gets out of there. That'd be an interesting plot line. Does Andre help him, or they sneak out? Um, we definitely, I think the next I think it'll go up to 4 episodes. You'll see Daryl and Merle by themselves. It'll be a side story, pretty much the third story. Um, Major, I think he ends up back at the prison with or without Merle. Um, he will probably be put in questioning by Rick. Rick will probably start questioning him, and him and Daryl might have a fight about it. They might bash heads. That Rick might question his loyalty. Um, it's really hard to predict him because if Merle's there, it changes everything because the group won't trust him, or does the group keep Merle because of Daryl and what they've done, what he's done for them? Um, so he is a lot of the plot lines that you can look at. Um, he if his story changes with if it's him and he see Merle die, or if Merle's with him at the prison. His future definitely relies on Merle. If Merle dies and he saving him in a way, or pretty much tries to kill Daryl. It's really hard to predict his future too. Even though it seems it's easy, he has two different ways that can happen. If it's Merle back at the prison, or if Merle dies saving his life. Um, which I think Merle will live, and they'll bring him back to the prison, which will affect the group, which is a very good plotline to introduce, seeing that Tyrese's group is now involved. Um, so that'll be an interesting. The main thing I think happens to Daryl this season is he ends up back at the prison, but he will be questioned a lot, and he will be changed with Merle around. We won't see the first 7 episodes first 7 episodes of Daryl. You'll probably see season 1 Daryl, pretty much. Looking for, you know, he's not going to be open up as much with Merle around. Um, Next is Glenn. Um, Obviously, he's still wondering about Maggie. He wants to know if she was assaulted by the governor, which she says she's not, and she wasn't, but he might not believe that. I believe his and Maggie's relationship will kind of strained at some points. Um, I just think maybe if it comes down to decision time, which I expect a split in the group's decision, that that him and Maggie might go separate ways, not break up, but I mean, one will pick to kill Merle or one let him live, something like that. Um, she, they might butt heads a little bit. The Woodbury interrogation is gonna change the relationship for a long time. Glenn's a more physical guy now, just seeing taking that beating and living, and now he's more resourceful. He's using his surroundings. Um, if Rick does get his leadership does get questioned, I would believe Glenn would be the one that steps up. I think he'll be the one that says, "No, you're not leader anymore." I think it'll be Glenn Herschel who will lead the backing of that and ultimately overtake Rick. So the main thing I see out of Glenn is he's gonna have a struggle in his relationship with Maggie. You might see it with Rick and like how Rick and Lori worked out, but it's gonna be it's not gonna be as major as Rick and Lori's relationship at the farm. And I think it'll be in some sort of that, but it won't be like I said as major. But the main thing I think happens to Glenn or what Glenn does is I think he starts to question Rick. He starts getting this feeling that he should be the leader because he went through Woodbury and he's a tougher person now. He thinks he can be a leader. Um, he doesn't hold back information like Rick has in the past. So I think his thing is he's going to start questioning Rick's decisions and his leadership. Um, Next is Maggie. I think Maggie, her main thing, there's nothing speculative, is she wants maybe revenge. She she wants she's gonna butt heads with you pretty much could put her with the Glenn category. She might go against Glenn. I think that's her big thing is her and Glenn's relationship will get strained, and she might side with Rick to keep his leader. Um, so nothing. I don't see anything major coming out over the next 8 episodes. Um, I think she'll just fill that role of you know the humanity role probably. She'll probably be Glenn's Lori if Glenn becomes that type of leader. If he becomes the leader, which I think he might end up for a little while. She'll question him a lot. I think, like I said, the main thing for her is she's going to strain that relationship between her and Glenn. Um, so you could pretty much go to Glenn's speculation. Um, Next you have Carl. Become more of a child soldier. You saw in episode 8 where he pretty much goes in the prison by himself, the tombs, which they call it, and finds Tyrese group. I think episode 8 you'll see him more of a maturing kid. Him and Beth might have more interactions. I think he'll start making decisions for himself. There's a scene you see where he pretty much tells Rick he shouldn't be the leader anymore. So he's starting to open up more. He's starting to look out for the group. He's not being just the kid that watches. He's being the kid that protects. And you're starting to see more Rick into him. Um, he's become hardened, and nothing will stop him. I just think his main thing for the next 8 episodes will be him transitioning to that child soldier, and maybe even him questioning Rick, which I think might happen after Lori dying and Oscar dying. Um, Daryl at first, if they question why he left him or not, if and let Daryl, not look for Daryl, I think they actually will go back for Daryl, or they might even just go back in after this. So I don't know. It's really hard because there was no solidified information of finding how Daryl. Daryl gets out, but how does he? Do Rick help, or do him and Merle just walk out with Andrea's help, or they just walk out? Um, But the main thing for Carl this next 8 episodes is his transition. You're gonna see him play a bigger role in um, strategy, decision making. I think he's just transitioning pretty much. Michonne, you're gonna see the lone wolf side of her gone. She's gonna her big thing is her giving up her lone ways to join the group. That's pretty much the big thing for the next 8 episodes. She's gonna join Rick's group. She's gonna fit Daryl's role until he comes back, but she's gonna be a key part of the group. She's gonna be um, she's gonna start making friends. She's gonna start opening up like Daryl did, as you saw in the beginning of the season. You'll probably find out about her walker pets she had and what they meant to her. They've kind of foreshadowed at that. I think she'll violently reveal what that meant. Um, Her and Andre's relationship will be strained. I think she's at the point where she realizes the group she's with is Andrea's group. Um, she wants to kill the governor. For the next 8 episodes is getting revenge and joining the group. I don't think she has something super major where she just leaves the prison and just comes back again. I think she will listen to Rick and she will become the team player. Um, so she's pretty much having transition from the next 8 episodes. Um, just for one of those warning things where it goes. I I'm hearing it right now. I heard it on my TV. ESPN's on. I don't know what's happening, man. Yeah, Michonne's big thing is pretty much she's transitioning to a different person. Um, she might when she sees Andrea, that's going to be a big part of the next 8 episodes is how that relationship works. Seeing that she's with the governor and almost killed her when she attacked the governor. Um, so she's got relationships to work on pretty much. They're just gonna open her up pretty much. Um, Next is Merle. Merle, I saw some speculation on forums that they might have faked that um, traitor thing, but I don't think it because of the scene where the governor looks at Merle and says, you know, someone basically telling Merle with his eyes that you lied, but you could be like, um, I mean, referencing another TV show, but you could be like Jax. Jax uses people that went against him pretty much, or affected him in a very bad way to use them. The governor could do that. They're gonna be like, you want to stay, you're gonna go spy in the prison pretty much, um, which I could see happening, but I think after questioning his loyalty in past episodes, I think Merle is done with the governor. I think him and Daryl do end up getting out of Woodbury somehow, and if he doesn't, he saves his brother pretty much. If he doesn't get out of Woodbury, but I think there's too much there's too much of a plot and too much of a story to just kill Merle to save Daryl. I think they'll eventually you'll see their past, what they did when they were in the woods, when they did before the Atlanta group. So him and Daryl are you're gonna see that bond between them two. I think that's his big thing is does he want to help Daryl? Does he want to get back with the Rick's group, even though they left him to die? But they did come back for him, so that could be an interesting thing, knowing that they did try to come back for him and search for him. Um, he, I don't know. It's very tough to guess what he could do. Does he? I think the major thing for Merle this year is forgiveness, pretty much. Does he forgive his brother for just letting him leave there? He's happy his brother's back, but that'll be interesting to see. It's pretty much Merle's used to define what Daryl was, what him and Merle are together, and if they will be together. Does he bring him back to the prison? How is that handled? Everything that Merle does is gonna affect Daryl. That's pretty much what they're using him for in my mind. Um, it's gonna change how Daryl thinks now. It's gonna change how he acts now because Merle's around his big brother that he explains he's different around Merle than without Merle. So that's a big thing for Daryl. He's pretty much Daryl's Batman and Merle's Robin pretty much at this point. Um, so it's really hard to guess, but I think the main thing for Merle is he's digressing Daryl. Daryl's not going to open up more. He's going to be that tougher shell to break. So, and Merle could be a very useful weapon for Rick and the group against Woodbury if he's not a spy. But if he does turn out to be a spy, I think Daryl will be the one to kill him. I don't know if there's anybody to kill him. I think it'd be Daryl. I don't think it'd be anybody else. Or Merle would save himself to keep Rook's group alive, which would be a very meaningful way, seeing that they left him to die, but he let himself die to protect Rick and the group and his brother. Um, Next, the governor. You're gonna see. I'm just gonna start speeding through these a little bit because it's getting up there in time. But the governor, you're gonna see the comic book governor. That's the main thing for the next 8 episodes. You're gonna see the new governor, the one that is very dark, the one who will just pretty much shoot somebody straight in the face if they don't listen to him. He's not gonna be one to be like, okay, um, if Merle contested him pre his eye stabbing, what he changed, he would have never killed him. But if that happened after he changed, I think Merle would have died. But I think the governor has this attitude now that nobody will get in his way. If you lie to him, you're dead. He's not going to trust anybody after what Merle lying to him. He's going to be a very dark person. He's going to seem like a dictator now, and the town will go against him, I believe. I think some people from the town might want to leave and go to the prison. I think he eventually tells the town about the prison. Um, but um, he's changing. I think the next 8 episodes are him changing or transitioning into the comic book governor, the one that's very dark, the one that's gruesome, the one that and he wants the prison. He's not gonna stop for anything for that prison now. So him when him if he finds out Merle ends up with the prison group, he's gonna I think he'll flip. Um, he's a very paranoid person. I don't think his town is suited yet for attacking the prison, seeing that the Woodbury assault, they kind of just failed. Um, so that's another thing, is him gearing up for war, pretty much. Him transitioning to a leader that will fight anything that comes his way, instead of just being that safe haven where nobody will bother them because they probably want to be there. Um, which they use Michonne and Andrea as a good thing, showing, oh, it's a good place, and then when it's a good place that won't be attacked, and then when Rick shows up, that it's not a safe place, and they don't know what they're doing. So his main thing for the next 8 episodes is him wanting revenge, pretty much, and becoming the hardened leader, the one that will kill anybody that comes near him, and not trusting anyone anymore, and becoming pretty much a dictator. Carol, I think she'll be the same Carol as season 8. The first half of season 3. Her and Axel might have something there. I just think she'll be this. Her and Axel, pretty much. I think you might see something there. Her and Daryl. Daryl not returning might affect her if they don't go back for him right away. She might be pretty distraught at that. So yeah, nothing really major for him. I think the next 8 episodes is her just being the same season 3, pretty much. She might have a big role a little bit. She might be a big factor in the Woodbury assault, but nothing much there. Herschel and Beth, um, pretty much. Herschel, he's gonna be the humanity guy. He's gonna be the public speaker, pretty much. He's gonna be the spokesperson. He's gonna be one that's. I think he'll be the main person that starts to question Rick's ability to lead and decision make. I think that's his big role for season 3, is him becoming. He's the one that, in the comic books, he's the one that pretty much stands up and tells Rick no. Um, and he's the one that stands up to Rick, pretty much. What's funny, because he had his leg cut off. Well, not his leg, but half his leg. Um, but he's the one that starts the questioning of Rick, and he becomes the spokesperson for everyone else in the group, pretty much. And then Beth, same season 3, pretty much. She might have a bigger role with interacting with Carl. Um, and seeing that there's a new teen introduced, she might be extendable. She could die. I don't think they'll kill her right away. It could be possible, but seeing that there's another teenager in the role, those two can interact. And Carl might get jealous and end up maybe killing. I think it's Ben, but he does kill one of the twins in the comic books. There was two of them, Ben and Billy, but this one is just Ben. So that could be an interesting love triangle that people have been asking for. Um, And then Axel, I already went on. I think he'll just be limited like usual. Milton, you'll learn a little bit more about him maybe after the post Woodbury attack. Maybe he wants to leave. Um, and then Tyrese's group, an interesting group. You have Tyrese, his younger sister Sasha, Ben, and um, not Don, Alan, who just lost their mom and wife. I think Tyrese and Sasha want to go in the group. They say they're good people, and this is this, like they said in the episode, this is the best thing they've had in a while. Um, uh, Ben, I think Ben and Alan are distraught after losing, their relative, mom and wife. I think they might they might try to take over the group. There's a preview where I actually see them talking about it, and Tyrese and Sasha were against it. Um, I think at first that group is going to be a problem for the prison. When Rick comes back, they're not going to be very he's not going to be very fond of them joining. But eventually, I think they will join. I think Ben and Alan will come around and think that they are a good group. Um, but yet they don't. Alan might die and maybe Ben because they try to overthrow it, but they don't know what Rick's group is capable of. There was the scene they showed. It showed Carol and Carl together, and they thought they could take them. But Tasha and Tasha, I should just call them Tasha. Tyrese and Sasha pretty much shoot down that thing. So there's some breaking apart in that group, which I think will be their big thing. Is though that group's big thing for season 8. I keep seeing season 8. The next 8 episodes of season 3 is them getting introduced to the group and how and do they trust them and do they do something stupid that could lead them to get kicked out. But I think eventually, I think eventually those groups combine at one point, but it's going to be some struggle before that. Um, so that was the main thing. But I think the main thing for the next 8 episodes of season 3 is the groups. Woodbury becomes stronger, while with the return of maybe Merle will break Rick's group apart and make him weaker. And Tyrese's group back in the fold could make him even weaker, or maybe bring it back together somehow. So I think the next 8 episodes are showing Woodbury getting stronger, which they were weak, and then Rick's group being strong and then breaking apart again, like at the pretty much you see the farm group pretty much where they're all broken in pieces. Um, some are against doing that, some are against doing this. You just see the group pre-prison pretty much. They're not as strong as they will be. So I think that's the main focal point is the groups. Each group is changing. One gets stronger, the other one gets weaker. And I think the next 8 episodes, I think the mid-season finale will probably be the first assault on the prison. Um, some people might die, many might die. I think that them killing our main characters would be bad because they've killed off Lori and T-Dog already. Um, but on a quick note, Glenn Mazzara said that um, episode 4 of second part of the season will be like episode 4 of the first part. It'll pretty much be like a mid-season finale. So just a little tidbit of something that could happen. Which I think that would probably where maybe another thing on Rick. I didn't go into this, but I think Rick ends up going to find Morgan because he has to go find supplies because he knows about Woodbury now. So that could be the episode 4 or Merle and Daryl returning. But I'm just speculating. It's really hard to predict what's going to happen now, seeing that cliffhanger and seeing so many folds added into the predicament, pretty much. But that is it. I hope you guys enjoy my Twitter and that are below. Any questions about any characters I can answer, just tweet me or comment below. Also check my channel for the episode 8 review if you missed that. But once again, I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll periodically have Walking Dead videos up until February 10th, which is the return of Season 3 of The Walking Dead. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you next time.